Hello everybody, this is The Recon. Today, we're going to be talking about why 2050 is going to be just like the 1950s, at least in terms of dating. First, let's intro. There's a theory in economics called overchoice. And this is when you have so many choices that you are bound to make the wrong decision. A good example of this would be buying a car or even buying body wash. Buying a car, you have a used car, that is, even non-used car, I guess. You have so many options that it's pretty much impossible to compare the pluses and minuses, the pros and cons of each option. And so you're bound to not pick the most optimal option. Yeah, I knew somebody who he would buy a car, or he bought a car, and then he would go and trade it in for another car, 2 months later, and then he would do that again and again. This is what's happening in relationships. We have so many options that there is no possible way that we're going to pick the correct one. The issue with this is that we're never settled. We know we haven't. If we only have two options, usually one is obviously better than the other, we can at least make the choice without feeling like we missed out on too much. But when we have so many options, then we're bound to make the wrong one. And even if we made the right decision, we still feel like there's probably a better one out there. Now, there's another theory in economics. This theory is called the market for lemons. Both of these are microeconomic theories. The market for lemons basically suggests that, and I'll go with cars again here, it's a good example, that in a competitive market where there's asymmetric information between the buyer and seller, so one of them knows more about the item than the other, it's going to drag down the price of the high quality goods and bring up the price of the low quality goods. Now let's give an example of this. If there are 3 cars, one of them used cars, one of them is high quality, one of them is medium, one of them is low quality, but you can't tell which one is which. The only person that knows which one is high quality, which one is low quality, etc., is the seller. Then what you're going to do is immediately assume that they're all medium quality. Now, this becomes an issue because if you're selling a high quality car, you want to sell the car for, we'll say, 10 grand. It's a high quality car. Then, oh, give me a second. My dog is being wild. That's why I've been so distracted. All right, let's get back to this. If you're selling a high quality car and you want to sell it for 10 grand, but a low quality car sell for 5 grand and medium quality cars sell for 7,500. But the buyer assumes that all the cars are medium quality. You don't want to sell your car for 7,500, so you take it off the market. That leaves medium and low quality cars. And now there's just as many medium quality cars as low quality cars. And so you assume that the quality of car that you're going to buy is going to be slightly under medium. So maybe the average price drops to $6,000. Well, the medium quality car doesn't want to sell that anymore. And it'll drop back and it'll drop down to the lower quality car. Now, in dating, we call these red flags, the quality of people, how many red flags they have, or what they're that's on the negative side. On the positive side, for men, it's usually wealth, attractiveness, height, that type of stuff. And for females, it's usually looks, personality. For guys, it's personality too, but guys can be assholes and get away with it, and some girls can be complete bitches and get away with it. But, anyway, those are if one is higher than the other, So, in dating, we have so many options. But the entire market is a market for limits. The entire market, we cannot vet who is high quality and who is low quality. So we assume everybody is But now it feels like more and more low quality people are coming in and less high quality people are coming in, because the high quality people are getting treated like medium quality people. Okay, now dating isn't an economic circumstance, but this is something that's happening. Now, I want to go through a few articles here, and I'm not actually going to read them out loud. I've read them multiple times, and I'm just gonna basically say what they say, and you can check them later. So let's start with the first one. This paper is by a guy named David J. Lay. He's a PhD. It's on Psychology Today. It's called Feminist Think, Sexist Men Are Sexier Than Woke Men. Okay, and it goes through women like bad boys, blah, blah, blah. Some women find other women misogynistic because, they've internalized the misogyny because they date, alpha males as opposed to kinder, softer, nicer males, better guys. Okay, and it goes down and down, and here's where it actually says what they want. Which, not true, by the way, but we'll go with it. What they want and they're not getting. And why, it says down here later. Now, basically what it says here is women want to be seen as better than men and therefore put up on a pedestal, protected. The thing that you live for should be a woman. That's what women want, and that's the sexist ideas they find more attractive. Now, if I've ever actually put... I'm not a scientist, and I'm not doing any case studies. Any science I have is economics, but it's hardly science, very soft science. But I've put some studies into place. I did some experiments, you could say, where I went out and I tried to see the best way to get somebody, to get a female. It's not by putting them on a pedestal. It is not by saying you're going to protect them, although showing them you're going to protect them isn't bad. It's not by willing to sacrifice to provide for them, or seeing them as more virtuous, although sometimes. It's by giving them something to fix. That's probably the biggest thing. You can be a little bit of a jerk, you can be a little sexist, this, that, and the other, but the biggest thing is giving them something that they want to fix. Going to the next piece really quick. This one is titled, The Truth About Why Intelligent, High-Performing Women Fall for Toxic Partners. And it's written by this random journalist, who seems pretty young actually, named Anna Marie Howlis. Now it goes through and it basically says, you ever wonder why these great, awesome, successful women are dating these losers, or these guys that don't seem to be as high quality as they are? And they go through and they say high performance women are willing to put in the work. They think they can fix the guy, is basically what they're saying here. They don't say it in here. Okay, but that's what they mean, is that the women are... Now, this isn't a study. This is just an opinion piece. But the women want to fix a person. The guy's never going to be fixed, okay? This is a probably can't say that. This is an issue. This is a problem. It's a bug in the system because the guys aren't getting fixed and the women just keep trying to fix them. We'll only go with guys they want to fix. But yeah, they say high performance women will put in the work. Toxic men tend to target powerful women. Now, comparing this to a market, okay, there are probably more toxic men in the market now because it's a market for lemons on both sides. Okay. And they're attracted to the toxic men. They never say that. They only give 3. Sex is blinding, okay? It kind of leads to the attraction there. But the toxic men, I don't know if attractive men become toxic or they're just made that way. It's the type of person they are. I don't know. But this is another big issue. Is that the toxic women, they are attracted to these guys. And if you don't believe me, look, if you're talking to a girl and she seems to be kind of losing interest, she's responding with one word, ignore her for like a week or 2. Or maybe even a few hours or a few days, depending on how much she's on her phone. But just ignore her for a while, leave her on red a few times in a row. She'll be all over you again. And it's not because she sees now that you're a good guy. It's because she's attracted to the top. Everything is, I'm not saying this as a good thing, by the way, but every relationship nowadays is a power struggle. That's not good. I'm not saying it's good, but that's the reality. You can go through your relationships pretending like it's not a power struggle. I tried that for a while. I had what I thought was a really good relationship and she just took advantage of me over and over and over again. And that's what will happen to you. Alright. So, I'll move on to the next one and then I'll go to my analysis. I had a YouTube video I was going to show you guys too, but I don't think I'm going to because this is going on for quite a while already. Alright. Why men don't ask you out. Now this is just covering the 3 things, really 2 things, but 3 things I want to talk about here and why I think we're going to go back to a conservative 1950 style way of dating and marrying and working through our relationships, etc. And it's just because it works better. But why men don't ask you out, and this is by a girl who calls herself Sammy Wonder. I don't really think that's her name. This is her here. She's definitely not crazy. Anyway, so somebody writes to her and says, hey, look, I've been talking to this guy. We're just texting, but he refuses to ask me out. What is wrong with him? Of course. And Sammy Wonder goes and basically says, this is almost an epidemic. It happens all the time. Now, what are my solutions? And then she goes and gives non-solutions, which I think are really funny. So we're actually gonna read this off. Don't feel obligated to answer his pointless text unless you speak very straightforward. Hi, thanks for the This is an example. Hi, thanks for the puppy photos. I'm not a big fan. I am not big on texting. I prefer phone calls and face-to-face interactions. So feel free to let me know when you have a plan. God, isn't that so condescending? Like, how about instead of that, you go, like, he sends you a cute picture of a puppy. You're like, hey, that's cool. Look, I'm free tonight. Are you free tonight? Because we can go do something. Or even make a plan. Be like, we can go to, I don't know, Olive Garden. Something like that. Would you like to go? Or you can, if you want him to make the decisions, I understand it. You can go, hey, look, I appreciate texting. Or, hey, that's really cute, but I'd really like to meet you in person. I'm free tonight. Are you free tonight? Or when are you free? And see where that goes. And frankly, if this guy's not biting, just drop him. I hate it when people say I'm not big on texting. Look, I always use that as a way to vet. It's hard to tell people nowadays, and there's a lot of danger in just going on a date with a random person. We'll get into more of that in a moment. Should you share your feelings on how much this is annoying you? Basically, she says no, just tell him that you don't like texting, which I guess is kind of sharing the feelings. But, I mean, specifically says no, don't tell him how much this is annoying you. Look, if you're starting out the relationship on trying to keep the power to yourself, this is the big issue. I mean, this is the big issue. Is that we start from a place of power and we end from a place of power. Nothing is about love. It's not about love. It's about what I can get out of it. And we do it subconsciously. Even the men, even the women that don't think they're doing it, more often than not, if they're not thinking about it, all of their friends are telling them to. Hey, don't text that guy back immediately. Wait 2 hours. Leave him on red for 2 hours. Make him a little more needy. Make him think about you more. This is how abuse works, by the way. It's one big thing. You're always thinking about what you're doing wrong when you get abused. That's one reason you'll see 4-year-long abusive relationships. Maybe it's mentally abusive for the first 2 years, then it becomes physically abusive, and it just escalates from there. Because the person thinks, wow, I'm worthless. Wow. What did I do wrong? And it's the same thing with these power grabs. It's the same way. This is mine as well. You may even argue that this is mental abuse. You're going, wow, what did I do wrong? Was that not interesting enough? Maybe they're doing something. Maybe they have other plans, etc. Some people will admit they're into that. Some people won't. But either way, you probably are. It's a power grab. Now, the best way to counter this, by the way, and she does go into this, actually. I'm not sure where. If I find it, I'll show you. But she goes into this kind of where she basically says, look, let him go. If you guys don't have this in common, if he's not meeting up, let him go. Absolutely true. Don't stick around. Be okay being by yourself before you get into a relationship. Before that, be okay by yourself. If you find a good relationship, get into it. But don't go around begging for a relationship. It's not going to end well. Now, it's not a very long article, but I've already gone quite a while, so I'm going to go to my analysis, my economics comparison, I suppose. Essentially, we're in a society now. Now, these are all from women. You're hardly going to find any papers from a male's point of view. I mean, from the men's side, from what's wrong with the other side, with women and relationships. Okay, so I'm going to try to cover that here. And what's wrong with relationships in general. So one reason this guy might not want to hang out with you before he meets up and before he talks to you over text or whatnot. Maybe he might be socially awkward, or maybe he might be weighing his risk. Okay, maybe you're crazy. Maybe you're gonna poke a hole in the condom. Okay, then he has to pay you child support for you. It doesn't matter if you were malicious and did it. Okay, or maybe you tell him you're on birth control and you're not. Now, guys, don't be stupid. Okay, if a girl says she's on birth control, use a condom. She says she's not, use a condom. She says she's clean, just use a fucking condom if you're gonna have sex. Anyway, so one reason is that this guy might be scared of getting you pregnant. Why? Well, that's 18 years of his life that he's either paying you a crazy amount of child support or that he has to be by your side, depending on what type of man he is. Okay? Another reason is that, say you both drink, and he takes you home, and y'all get a little freaky in those sheets. And then you call the cops the next morning and said you didn't consent because you were both drunk. Now this guy, restraining order, jail time, probably paying money. Okay, that's not great. Duh, that's not great. Okay, and it is a risk. This does happen. Doesn't happen a whole lot, but it happens way more than we like to think it does. Alright, or nothing happens, you are offender, and she makes something up about you anyway. Still ain't great. This can happen years after. And, maybe it won't pass in court, but we have a whole society here to back her up. Okay, they're not taking his side. Alright, so those are a few issues. And men they're gonna start sinking out. The good guys, they're not gonna want to ask people. The ones that are wanting to follow the rules, the ones that are wanting to provide, put her up on a pedestal, give them what they want. Those guys, they're not going to be willing to be in the marketplace much longer. They're not going to be on Tinder. They're not going to be on Bumble, Hinge, Highly. They're not going to be on Plenty of Fish because they're not a robot. It's the only thing on Plenty of Fish, guys. Just telling you. Alright, so we're going to start. We're in a place of reevaluation right now, okay? And we're going to start slowly slipping back. We're going to start finding these values that we had before that worked. The good values. And we're going to start slowly slipping back into those. That's why I titled this, Why 2050 Will Be Just Like 1950. Because it worked. Where we're at right now, it doesn't work. Our divorce rates, they're like 60%. Women aren't happy with guys with lower pay than they get. They will dump you. They will divorce you. There's a 90% rate of women divorcing men when they get a promotion that makes more than that man does. It's a little messed up. Okay? Men aren't wanting to fall for that a lot more. Our marriage, more and more. Our marriage rates are the lowest that they have ever been. People are not getting married. They're sleeping around or they're not doing anything. Guys like sleeping around. Girls like sleeping around until they hit about 30, 35, 40. And it's like, oh shit. I got to get my life together. I got another 30, 40 years of working. I got to get my life together. Good luck. Alright. My suggestion, if there's guys listening, my suggestion, don't look too hard for a relationship, okay? Be yourself. Don't put them on a pedestal. Don't see them as better, more virtuous than you, something you have to sacrifice for, okay? If you find someone who happens to pick up where you drop off, who is the second half to the person you want to be, who makes you a better person, go ahead and date them for a bit. I'm not MGTOW, okay? I'm not part of the manosphere, although they do have good points, alright? And if you are, hey, better to you, okay? I'm not going to blame you for that. I understand it. Alright? If you want to go that route, that is a perfectly fine route. If you want to stop dating, alright? But I think it is a nice way to share your life. That's just me. So let's think about where we want to go as a society. Let's stop and think, if we sacrifice our time now, if we try to make things better, where could we take them? And I think 1950 is a good example. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why 2050 will be just like 1950. It's a good little picture right there for that. And isn't she beautiful in that picture? I mean, she's not wearing slutty clothes. She's not wearing an obnoxious amount of makeup. Doesn't have giant tits. still extraordinarily beautiful. You know, it's like the Princess Leia style of beautiful. You know what I mean? Anyway, guys, if you want to support me, my links are below. I hope you all are having a phenomenal day. And I'm going to begin and if you guys want to like and subscribe, that would help me out a lot. Go ahead and talk in the comments. I love constructive criticism. I will ignore you if it's unconstructive criticism, and that is for sure. Have a lovely day. Stay safe. And really think about the choices that you're making every day in life.